I'm so excited to chat with you. I love She-Hulk that I got to see. And I know you and the team have been working on She-Hulk for a while, and I love this version of her. And I love the breaking of the fourth wall that reflect in the comics. I was wondering what was your choice in Tony Stark and her identity instead of keeping it secret?
Well, in the comics, in like all of her iconic runs, it isn't a secret. It is open, So we really drew from the comics. Like that was kind of the interesting thing about her was that she didn't hide her identity. She kind of just existed in the world and really did her job. We really wanted to see, have fun seeing a 6'7" Hulk in a business suit, like in court, just acting like, oh, it's totally normal for me to be here and be a lawyer.
Yeah, well, I love that, being a woman is hard already, and then being single in your 30s, it seems harder, even harder, paying loans, figuring yourself out. But now Jen needs to deal with this other persona, that gets more attention and boosts her self-esteem. And I feel like this will affect human Jen and her self-esteem. Will we see this sort of torn relationship between Jen and She-Hulk?
Absolutely. I mean, that truly is one of the major themes of the show, because she is in this unique position where because she retains her consciousness, unlike Bruce and Hulk, back in the day, she remains mentally, consciously the same person, but she is inhabiting these two very different physical bodies. So she in real time can see the way people treat her and look at her differently. And, that's something that she's going to have to grapple with psychologically and emotionally, knowing that that is why people are treating her differently, even though she's the same person on the inside. And we definitely will see a lot of that in the show and watch her process all of that.
Well, I love the obsession with Steve Rogers and Captain America. We see so many moments regarding him throughout the episodes, including the end credits. Why is this a thing, and who should I thank for?
It was just it's the result of the type of conversations that we all would have, like both in the writers room and with our friends, and because being Marvel fans, when we watch the movies, like these are the kind of things that we would start talking to our friends about in general, and the kind of things that we would discuss in the room. So it just was a very, very fun runner to an obsession to give Jen. But the fact that we were able to answer the question definitively, that you can thank Kevin Feige.
Well, I know this character is going to be introduced soon, but I need to talk about her, Madison, and with the S, with the Y and two N's, but not where you
Not
expect
where
it.
you think.
Not where you think is my favorite character in the whole entire MCU now. Please tell me everything about her, and will we see her again in her own spinoff?
Oh, I mean, I love Madison. Melissa Hunter wrote that episode and she wrote such a hilarious script and just really and then we had Patty Guggenheim come in and Patty is just so funny, such a talented improviser, but also so gifted at playing drunk as well. She is so good at the craft of playing drunk that she said it's a dial and you can just give her a number and she can turn it up or turn it down. I mean, that is the talent of Patty Guggenheim. And I really think that she is going to be a fan favorite. And my new goal in life now is to make a Wong and Madison Halloween special.
Well, she is my baby Yoda of this series.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
yeah, but I just like definitely I'm excited for this, and I'm obsessed with the end credits. Final question: please tell me the process you guys had with the end credits of how you decided to end credit scenes.
That's one of my favorite things about not just Marvel movies, but movies in general. I love whenever there's end credits. It just feels like an extra special little bonus treat. And being comedy writers, of course, if you give us an opportunity to add an extra joke, we're gonna take the opportunity. So the end credits were always built into the scripts.
No, perfect. Thank you so much, and I can't wait for everyone to see this. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad you like it.
I'm so excited to chat with you. Love the screeners that we got sent already. And you know what? I love that, it is being a woman is hard already. Being a single woman in her 30s seems even harder, especially paying off loans, finally feeling yourself. But now Jen needs to deal with another persona that gets more attention and boasts not only her strength, but her confidence. I feel like this would affect human Jen's self esteem. Will we see this sort of torn relationship between Jen and She Hulk?
Absolutely. A huge part of the series is about the duality of self and how Oh, Jen is very different from He-Hulk because when she transforms, she maintains her identity and she doesn't turn into a rage monster. However, that identity is definitely affected by the way that she is perceived and by the way other people look at her. And so it really is this push and pull throughout the season of embracing that and running away from it.
Yeah, well, based on the episodes we've seen, I have a feeling that we're seeing episodic law stories each week, and where we're dealing with supernatural in court. Was this planned out to have Jennifer's story, and sprinkle in some of the supernatural cases in as well? And are they all a MacGuffin to a bigger picture? Are they all related to a bigger picture?
What's so interesting about the show to me, especially as a director, is the blending of genres. And so at its heart, you have this character-driven story about a woman in her 30s navigating modern day life. And that is one of the big driving forces of the show. And we hope that audiences will fall in love with Jen and want to see how she handles all of these very relatable circumstances. But then on top of it, you have the engine of a legal procedural. And so every week we do see new cases. There are some episodes without them, but for the most part, it really is about navigating the legal world and giving the audience a sense of familiarity. We've all come home after a long day and watched Law and Order. And, so the show should have that comforting feeling. And then on top of that, you have the Marvel world where there are these bad guys lurking on the periphery, and there's always the chance that it's going to turn into a high octane, action packed, suspense driven Marvel show. And it's just all about juggling all of those different driving forces.
Well, there's so many amazing cameos, and they each have their own stories to them. And I love their callbacks. Like, were there discussions with the writing team and Kevin Feige on how these characters would be played out on the show? Like the people we know already, like Emil and Wong and Daredevil. Like, was there a discussion on the future and how they're presented here?
Absolutely. Part of what's so cool about working at Marvel is that Kevin is really hands-on, and Kevin holds the entire MCU in his brain. And so whenever you're reintroducing a character or bringing somebody from another project, you have to consult with him to make sure that what you're doing works for the future, because you're not just making a standalone piece in a vacuum, you're making something that is connected to the entire MCU. And it's part of the joy of the process.
Well, I know this is not a spoiler because the character is going to be introduced to everyone, and she's not a big part. But Madison is my favorite character of all time now. She's the best character. Please tell me everything about her, and please tell me that we will see her again.
All hail Patty Guggenheim. If you dig a little deeply into Kat Coira, you will see that I take Patty with me anytime I can. I think she is a comedic genius. When I brought her up for the role of Madison, not spelled the way you think it should be, people weren't familiar with her, and she came in and she did an audition over Zoom during a pandemic and had the entire room crying tears. Sean Early, our manager, and Wendy Jacobson, our producer, actually poked their heads out of the doors to show me their tears. So I'm so excited to bring her into the MCU, and I definitely think that the entire Mystic Castle episode should be a spinoff.
Yes, I agree with that. But thank you so much. I had to put that in my interview because I just fell in love with that character. And I know everyone else will. So and She-Hulk is amazing. So I can't wait for everyone to see it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Lectures, fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.